All right, I think we're just about ready to go. So welcome. I'm going to take this slide off my computer. Perfect. So we're ready to go. So Gita, can you say something so you get on the screen?
Sure. Nice to be here and welcome everybody and namaste.
Perfect. So I'm going to introduce Gita Desai. She's a filmmaker and a very successful filmmaker who does amazing films. And at the end of this our webinar, you will have an opportunity to be able to purchase her film if you would like to, or purchase any one of the three of her trilogy. She's done one on Ayurveda, one on yoga, and one on music, and they're all amazing. So they would really be something wonderful for you to have in your library. So Gita always keeps telling me she's not a scholar. I think she is a scholar in her own right in terms of making the movie and all the amazing people that she's met over the years doing these three different films. I've been a yoga teacher for the last 20 years, and I've been a yoga therapist for the last 14 years. And I think something that people don't really understand is that when yoga becomes therapeutic, as in terms of yoga therapy, it actually becomes one of the disciplines of Ayurveda. So the last interview that we did and this interview are very well tied together because the two sciences of yoga and Ayurveda are sister sciences, and they work perfectly together in terms of healing the individual and helping to heal the world. So Gita, would you like to say something before I show the first trailer?
So what we are going to watch is my first effort, which was Yoga Unveiled. That documentary was released in 2004, and I started making it in 2002. So the genesis or the impetus behind making that film, that particular documentary, was very quickly once I started practicing the Hatha Yoga, the physical yoga, going to workshops and studios, and just observing that people in the West are given a very small aspect or a view of yoga, which was mostly the physical aspects, and it wasn't their fault. That was the way the promoters of yoga could promote it very easily, because it's a very physically oriented society and they loved it. And along with it, there were side effects of calmness and good health, etc. But the marketing machine was showing it as if asanas and the postures are what yoga is. So people, I felt, were building their bridges, their homes on the bridge. Asana is just a bridge towards a much higher goal. And I felt bad when I watched people buying hundreds of books and quite curious but quite lost. So I thought, well, let me make a documentary, not write another one more of the thousands of books that have been written. Let me make a film, because people tend to watch a lot of screen time was getting increasing by the day. Readership is consistently going down, and so I brought a film together which gave an overview of the origins, the philosophy, the branches, how it came to the West, therapeutic, the biographies of the great yogis, Hatha yogis, and why the different branches of where is Bhagavad Gita and where is Patanjali in relationship to this and that. There was so much to sort for the Western mind. And so it's a textbook film again that I brought together. So graphs and maps and timelines and interviews with the greatest yogis and scholars, so that I would sure that people sit in their seats and watch the whole film. So it has become a great resource for teacher training programs across the world now. But the idea of behind making it was what I just expressed. So that's it, Erica. That's all I wanted to say as an introduction.
Well, thank you very much for your introduction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put on the trailer for Yoga Unveiled, and then I'm going to ask a few questions. At the end of this evening, you as an audience will also have an opportunity to ask Gita some questions. So I'll just get the trailer up for you so you can have a watch of it. Hold on, I need it to be bigger. Oh, this, I don't know if this one will get bigger. Let's see. Ah, there we go. So here's the trailer for Yoga Unveiled by Gita Desai.
The consciousness disciplines are saying the mind has these dimensions of positive experience that can be cultivated, that go way beyond neutral or
unchanging eternal bliss. That is our true nature.
We can't hear it.
Yoga in a nutshell is to keep the external, internal body clean, pure, sanctified, so that the mind flows without any barrier.
To most practitioners in the West, yoga is merely a series of postures that offer physical benefits. This view confines the yoga experience to only what occurs on the mat.
That aspect of yoga is just one of the thinnest slice in the entirety of yoga.
I consider yoga to be the oldest spiritual tradition in the world.
Soon there was a revolution in the concept of Indian civilization. Excavation at these sites brought to light the existence of the highly developed Indian civilization, which pushed back our knowledge of India's past by another 2,000 years.
The same people who created this yogic tradition created a civilization that, when you look at it today, you are astounded by its accomplishments.
The yoga practitioners of today have only to gaze over their shoulders. Within view is an unbroken stream of creativity that connects them to ancient India.
For all of these yoga systems, the goal is a realization of the innermost self, whether that's called Atman or Purusha. There's various names for it.
The practice of yoga is the practice of coming back to ourselves and rediscovering ourselves, and in fact coming to love ourselves and understanding that we're not separate from the totality. So we are all nested within larger and larger spheres of wholeness that extend out as far as the mind can extend itself, which as far as I know is infinite.
Our goal and purpose of yogic practices and Ayurvedic balanced lifestyle is to have all prana available at any given moment to direct it directly up to Sahasrara, to the highest chakra.
This flow of energy translates into dynamic stillness, nothing but skillful action. To the Western shores came many yogis in the hope of imparting their spiritual wealth, but with little impact. However, one man opened America's eyes to a new way of thinking.
It wasn't until Swami Vivekananda came in 1893 to speak at the Parliament of Religions. He was such an inspiring speaker that he put, in a way, the whole country, the educated country, on fire.
The physical yoga that the West has embraced can be traced back to the single-minded effort of one Brahmin yogi, Tirumalai Krishnamacharya.
Krishnamacharya had great influence in the way yoga is practiced in the United States. 4 of his main students, Iyengar, Pattabhi Jois, Deskachar, his son, Indra Devi, had incredible wide influence on introducing yoga to our culture.
He took postures out of obscurity, researched and refined them to perfection, and brought them to the public stage.
When people learn to relax deeply, they are different out there in the world.
Among all yoga masters, B.K.S. Iyengar has played the most significant role in the introduction and spread of yoga in the West.
I was born with the gift of illnesses, one after another, from birth. So those gifts of unfortunate ill health made me to take to yoga.
Sometimes I'm asked, what is the point of yoga? It was created 5,000 years ago. How can it be relevant today? My answer is always the same. It was created by human beings for human beings. The human condition truly has not changed.
Despite the cutting edge, quite dramatic benefits we could provide patients using new technology, it only further reinforced the realization that high-tech interventions can only bring so much to a patient who's ill.
Yoga doesn't bring you a sense of peace and health and well-being. It's not like taking Valium. Rather, it helps you quiet down your mind and body so you can experience what your true nature is, really, which is to be peaceful until we disturb it.
For me, yoga allows a wonderful integration of the body and the mind.
Carl Jung said that Western psychology has not even begun to understand the depths of a tradition like yoga. So Western psychology is in its infancy. Yoga is very old and therefore has gathered all kinds of information that we don't understand yet. If we practice, we begin to see more and more of just how beautiful and integrated and powerful it can be.
It also, I think, with time will be shown to provide very measurable benefits. For example, allowing bone density to increase in older people, especially women. Perhaps influencing how your kidneys function. Definitely having an impact on blood pressure control. Maybe influencing cholesterol metabolism. Things that we don't have quite enough data yet, but we have very alluring tidbits of information that make it seem like yoga might play a wonderful role as a general health preserving therapy. And it's cheap. You can do it yourself. It's hard to beat that as a general public policy wellness tool.
So if we could master mind, we would have untold worlds open up to us. And yoga provides us that promise.
So I don't think you could see that. What I'd like to do is at the end, I'll bring it up again and see if we can actually get people to see it. I've seen it many times now, so I think it's fabulous. But I'd like you to just speak a little bit. I mean, you spoke about kind of some of the inspiration for making Yoga Unveiled. Mm-hmm. Did you learn some things that you didn't know from speaking to the great masters? And it's kind of a privilege when you think that some people aren't around anymore, that there's a record of some of the things that they said to you.
Yes, yes. All three films are archival, especially the first two. And it's been so many years, Erica. I started interviewing back in 2002. So this is a film that's evergreen and ever fresh in terms of its orientation and the content creation. But it's been a while, and I've been through the other two, the processes of making the other two multi-hour documentaries, Raga Unveiled on Indian classical music and Ayurveda Unveiled, which was released in 2020. So it's been a while, but absolutely every time I sat in front of the masters and the greats, you know, the humility came through, their commitment to their practices, their own sadhanas and their own commitment to practicing what they preached, you know, was very evident. So that was definitely there, and the learning about the subject matter, the tradition, of course, happened as I was going through the making of it. So, and I did not come from a film background either. So there was a lot of learning from that end as well. I had never made films. I was a homemaker before that. But my passion was unparalleled, unmatched. My physical prowess, that what it takes to make documentaries was all in place. My kind husband funded them, so I had the finance, which is very important when you're making independent films. So the vision was very clear. I had to educate the world about the true essence of yoga and the power of yoga, and give them some semblance of what this tradition, what this this great, profound, you know, art and science is really from beginning to end, as much as man knows. Give some clarity was what I wanted, but in a film form, in a film medium. You know, there are
Well,
many.
your energy and your service definitely comes through in both the films that I watched.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah, all three films are textbook films because it was made from that objective. So once you know what you want as an end result, you work towards it.
Yes.
So you can literally turn the pages of the film and feel like you're going through a book. And that's what teacher training programs are doing now, because teachers have realized it cuts their work into half when they have them watch it beforehand or during the training. Because people love to watch real live masters that are no more or are around, and they would never have access to all these kinds of, for example, when I interviewed John Kabat-Zinn, there's not a single interview of him. He's become so popular. The MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction program, is in every hospital, and I believe the insurance companies also pay for that now. And when I filmed him, he was pretty well known, but nobody had ever heard his back-end story about why he did what he did. And I was in his backyard in the garden, sitting with him for over an hour and a half, and he gave, it's in the film, but so that's what I meant is nobody had heard B.K.S. Iyengar speak about his childhood and, you know, his journey. And Dr. Georg Feuerstein and the greats, really. So it was a really, Dean Ornish, Dr. Oz. Nobody had ever filmed him talking about yoga, how he introduced it at the New York Presbyterian, you know, the cardiac surgery departments.
Yes, they were much ahead of their time.
Yes, yes.
The North Americans that embraced it.
Yeah.
I think it's also important, you know, I run into this quite frequently, having been a yoga teacher for 20 years, that people think it's a religion as opposed to a philosophical system. And I think that creates some diversity. So I think it's important for people to start to understand that both yoga and Ayurveda are philosophical systems. One of the 7 philosophical systems in India, you know, a lot of it's in Sankhya philosophy, as opposed to being a religion, so that it doesn't separate people anymore, that it brings people together if they understand that.
Yeah, India is a complex land, a complex culture, a complex history, because it's had a very deep, centuries long, uninterrupted traditions, and they were very, very peaceful at one point. It was the invasions that really rattled them, but they never went out to invade. They were very, very much into looking for the inner well-being of, everything was towards this whole journey of how to find the maximum potential in each one of us and be liberated in a nutshell. So
Right.
that was the impetus, and towards that everybody worked. So so it's hard to understand that that everything is intertwined. When one says yoga is religion, well, yoga was never away from day-to-day life. It wasn't that you went into a studio and did the hot yoga. It's crazy. Everywhere you see there's yoga, the union with the higher power, microcosm meeting the macrocosm, and Ayurveda is everywhere. Because the sages, the grand design was not to disempower and say, we know it, we'll show you how to do it. You have to be with us, or you have to pay us, or whatever. Their whole mission was, how do we make the society, each individual empowered? And so they brought yoga into the simplest ways of life, whether it's cooking, parenting, cleaning your house, setting up the ambience of your self as well as your environment. How do you treat the animals, the nature? Everywhere there was this union with the oneness. You were never like me. The individualism was broken down as much as they could to keep us real and to protect each other, protect the environment, protect your home, protect your child, the older. So then, of course, the words, the vocabulary can be found in a scriptural, religious scripture, also in a yogic scripture. Sanskrit was the mother of all traditions. So people who are ignorant, have very small minds towards what the world is, don't want to know, or are very inclusive and afraid, insecure, because yoga can be extremely rattling for a lot of people because it empowers each individual.
Yes.
They don't need you. They don't need to buy things. They know how to take care of themselves. Then capitalism is, facing a big challenge. So therefore, there are many reasons.
If you look at the Yoga Sutras, the first two are all about your own ethical presence in the world and the physical expectations. So with those first two pieces of the 8 limbs, it makes it very much a part of Ayurveda too, not just of yoga, if you read the Yoga Sutras.
Absolutely. Well, both were, the architects were the same, the sages. The purpose was the same, to empower and to show people how to be, experience their fullest potential. And if you look at Ayurveda, it was how to teach people not to get sick in the first place, so that they can find the union, the yoga, which is the higher achievement, which would be higher, to find that level of fulfillment, etc. But before you could meditate and sit, you had to be healthy. The body had to be healthy.
Yes.
And clean and disease-free. So one led into the other. There is no way yoga and Ayurveda can be apart. No way. It's just that the Western, the entry into the Western, and even in India, people not too many understand the interrelated, aspect.
Yes, and yoga's been here a lot longer than Ayurveda has in North America too. I think it will get integrated.
It never came along because they couldn't sell all that, but they could sell the physicality very quickly.
Yeah,
So
right.
everything else was dropped, and go after the yoga mat. That's where the money is, and that's where that became yoga, and Lululemon pants and whatever, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I used to own yoga studios, and I believe that some people come for the physical aspect.
Yeah.
If they stay around long enough, they learn
Absolutely.
the other pieces, which is nice because maybe that's the only way we'll get North Americans in is by at
Yeah.
first offering the physical asana practice, and the rest will come.
You said it right. It's in the film as well. Absolutely. Credit where credit is due, because that was the way to introduce it. Absolutely. So, but the problem was that grew, that became the word for yoga. And
Yes.
not only that, that became so diluted, that became so commercialized. Even Hatha Yoga is spiritual or has a very higher order, the authentic Hatha Yoga, physical
Yeah.
yoga. But look where it was taken. So that's the problem. And the students were, or whoever was in their studios, or were never given the higher possibilities. They were never shown that ultimate, ultimately meditation and going inwards is where you should be leading to. They were never shown that path, most of them. But as you just said, a lot of them, it's natural that they go towards that. In my experience, because I've been all over the world with my screenings and talks and all, I've noticed at least 30% on their own want higher. They want to go into the deeper dimensions of yoga. It's just a yearning because everything starts relaxing. You stretch the muscles, everything starts calming down, the breath goes down, the heart rate slows down, you feel calmer, your health probably gets better, even from simple asanas. Then what? There's a yearning that you want to be silent, you want to go inwards and find the deeper aspects of yoga. Absolutely.
Yeah,
so it's all good, but it became quite ugly, the commercialization. It is right now, truly.
True.
Go yoga and this yoga and that yoga. I mean,
okay, let me put one of the promos on that.
Yes.
Hold on.
You have to make sure they can see it. I don't know.
I know, I don't know what happened. I'm just going to have to.
Sure.
I could see it.
Oh,
you could? Some people could see it?
Yes, I could. This is Laura speaking.
Okay.
We could.
I could see it too.
Yeah, I could see it too. So let's just have a look at this one if I can. Where did it go? No.
I see it.
Yeah, I'm just going to try and put it on a full screen. This one is on YouTube. I couldn't get it up any other way. So
from Ayurveda Unveiled, though.
Yeah, this is but it goes very well with
Sure. Sorry.
The yoga one.
Okay.
The Indian civilization saw the spirit in everything. India's spirituality was life embracing and life transforming. It saw matter as the veil or the form of spirit, and spirit as the essence, meaning, purpose, truth of all matter. And the bridging of these two as its highest purpose, as the meaning of life itself. And therefore, in whatever field they took up, it was with the aim of going all the way through to the deepest spiritual, essential truth and principle and meaning, and to draw that out into the widest, richest, most detailed expression in beauty, in power, in harmony, in knowledge.
It was Max Muller who said that the Western man has retired into the capsule of his head. And it is in only India that the whole body lives. When people are walking barefoot on the earth. How can they not be alive?
So I think that one went very well with the yoga piece also.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a very important statement that he made where man has moved into the capsule of his mind. You know, I see that frequently in both my clinical practice and at my yoga studio. But you know what I also see is I see people wanting to come out of that capsule.
Yeah.
And I think COVID has even expanded that even a little bit more in terms of us getting connected to a higher self, to a consciousness, to who we truly are, which is, you know, what Ayurveda was meant to do. It was meant to take us back to who we truly are, just like yoga was. And so how do you feel about that whole encapsulation of the mind in the North American world?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. No, you know, intuition, things like intuition or just being in nature or experiencing and seeing pleasure in the simple truths is out of the window now. Everything has to be researched, everything has to be proven, everything has to be, but at the same time, you know, there is no proof for things like love and ego. And, you know, these are abstract terms that even the Western vocabulary has, and there's no proof. But yet when it comes to these Eastern traditions like Ayurveda, yoga, etc., you know, where's the proof? Where's the proof? The proof is in the pudding, the proof is in practicing. I mean, research was done, as I said in my last talk, Erica, I will say it till I'm blue in the face. Research happened centuries ago.
I love
the
that.
rishis, the sages did not present this to the society, to the humanity without completely. How come it's so alive and so unchanged after centuries? And you know, the principles haven't changed.
No.
Even the herbs in Ayurveda, even the precepts, even the asanas, breath work, nothing has changed. How come? And in the Western sphere, everything changes every 5 or 10 years, and yet we don't question their research. It's humbug. It's research is money. I mean, it's needed, yes, but try to practice it, and you will be the model. You'll be the research result. You know,
Right.
because the rishis, the sages use their own bodies a lot of times as their laboratories. And they got hurt, they probably were damaged themselves too, till they refined the truths and the precepts and the practices. So we should be bowing to this and not putting our millions of dollars into research. We should just practice simple measures of, you don't have to do complex things to get great results. Yoga and Ayurveda are about simplicity, about where you don't have to pay a penny. It's all in your home. It's all in your body. You can do your downward dog and you'll be lifting your own weight and you'll be stretching your own muscle. You don't need to go anywhere. You have salt in your cabinet and you have a little neti pot and you have warm water. Cleanse your nasal passages. You won't have COVID. You won't be afflicted. You won't have asthma. There's breath work. So you see, it's so simple, but yet everybody wants to run after research and money. They want to spend money.
We have been taught, though, that the more complicated something is, the better it is. You know, we've definitely been trained that way.
The capitalism has taught that. The lawyers, the doctors, the accountants, the money, talk. Silence is powerful. Maybe we should become silent so we get answers from within what we should do with our lives and our problems. Silence is the springboard to change, and nobody's teaching us silence. Everybody's talking away.
Well, I think Mother Nature's now teaching us that by what she's done.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting experiment because
at what cost?
Discomfort.
At what cost?
Yeah, but you can see the discomfort in people from silence, you know,
Yes.
having to retreat.
Yes.
Is a normal part of a yoga practice or an Ayurvedic practice, yet in the world that we've lived in, I think that maybe people will wake up that maybe it has some very therapeutic value for them. I'm hoping that anyway.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I say to Ayurveda, practitioners, yoga teachers, that you have so much power to make a difference in people. So much power. If you unleash the real, gems of the traditions.
And there's another very interesting piece from my perspective is that when we look at yoga as being an Ayurvedic practitioner, and because I'm also a yoga therapist, which doesn't happen that often yet in Ayurveda, that asanas can be specific to the doshas and can be specific to the vikritis, to the imbalances, to heal that stuff in the body. And it's just a piece that's starting to bubble up and that people are starting to understand, which I find fabulous.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And if you think about the damage that's happening through the warm, hot studios, one size fits all. How many women who are pre-menopausal or menopausal or hot flashes? Doesn't matter. It's one size fits all. 100 degrees or 105, whatever the temperature.
Yeah.
And then what? You really throw the imbalances through the roof. Pitta.
But we feel the same way about food. If you look at that piece from an Ayurvedic perspective, we just think, oh, kale's good for everybody, right? We don't have that understanding yet of the individuality of the human experience and how it interacts with the environment. So,
surely. But, the traditions are here for people to take advantage from. So, and they're universal. They were designed for the entire world. Whenever they were, the words, if you read the Sanskrit, some of the words are humanity in Sanskrit or Manav Jati, for everybody, universal.
Yes.
And for the animals and plants and mankind.
Well, and hopefully that, my hope is that Ayurveda will start to help save the earth also, not just humanity, but the Mother Earth that we have really raped and pillaged for so long.
Yeah, if Ayurveda doesn't become as commercial as yoga.
Yeah, no, I hope not.
Which, yes, there are signs.
There'll be a piece of it, and there'll be just a traditional piece also, and hopefully over the years it will all meld into, especially when we have organizations like the Ayurvedic Association or NAMA, we're all doing really good work to be able to get the true word out there for sure.
Yeah, and the true word is that I'm as healthy as my neighbor is. I'm as healthy as Erica is, and everybody in this box, and vice versa.
And as healthy as the earth is.
So exactly. So we need to really empower everybody. So really.
Okay, I'll put on, let's see if I can do it right this time. I'll get another one of your pieces. Hold on.
The nascence of the alternative medicine program at Columbia Presbyterian was a recognition that despite the cutting edge, quite dramatic benefits we could provide patients using new technology, it only further reinforced the realization that high-tech interventions can only bring so much to a patient who's ill. And to totally reverse that illness, in fact, to bring wellness to that patient, you have to go beyond what Western high-tech medicine can provide. So that synchronicity occurs when you take advantage of therapies that are used in other parts of the world. And for me, yoga, at both a personal level and professional level, was the best therapy to provide to my patients. For me as an individual, it was wonderful because my surgeons were always hunched over, operating all the time. It allowed me to stay limber, flexible, strong. and increase my endurance.
Back in 2003.
Yeah, he was a different gentleman at the time, I think.
Yeah.
It was a really nice piece, though, you know, just him talking about that really allopathic medicine can only go so far.
Right.
And even at that point, he acknowledged that those Eastern sciences could go a lot further than, you know, what they were trained to do. And I hope that word just keeps getting out there. You know, I'm surprised it was said that long ago and it hasn't had more of an influence. I mean, it has had an influence, but.
This is exactly what you were asking, or the other clip talked about being in the head all the time, capsule of the head. So they can't see these kinds of practices as being, you know, powerful as well. You know, it's all this research-based everything.
Whoop, sorry.
Yeah. Shall we take some questions, Erica? I don't know if there are or.
Yeah, we have about 10 minutes left.
Surely.
I had one more video, but we're fine. I mean, I think people get the idea, and the videos are quite similar. So yes, I'd love it if, is there anybody that has questions? If you do have a question, you can either put it in the chat box, which is probably one of the easiest ways, or you can just take your microphone off and ask the question, and then please put yourself on mute again. Everyone's saying thank you to you for sure.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure, always.
There is a question, Vinita, she's asking, are there any plans to make further documentaries?
Oh, okay. No, what happened with Ayurveda Unveiled was we had about 16 theatrical screenings and more planned across the country and north and then Europe as well. And along came the pandemic, so everything was on hold. And with these 3 films, I no sooner did I finish one, I embarked on the next one. So the last 15, 16 years have been one after another, really finishing the multi-hour documentaries. You know, we self-funded, so the teams are small. I was working a lot, you know, traveling and making these films, and editing took so long. So I haven't really had much time to market these films, because my objective is to get these films in the hands of as many people as possible across the world, especially teacher trainees. And also this is where my time will go now. So I know I don't have any plans. I would love to make lots more, but no, not yet.
So could you just give your website for them to purchase, and then I'll type it in?
Sure. Unveiledtrilogy.com.
Okay.
All 3 film information is there. Unveiledtrilogy.com. And you can purchase them in DVD format as well as the stream, you know, video on demand format as well.
Yes, that's a nice option that you give people for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's a question here that says, what was the biggest challenge in making these documentaries?
There were no challenges. I mean, it's funny if I say this, but truly these were, if you believe in all this again, you know, if you're in your head, you won't. If you're in the capsule of your head, you won't understand what I'm about to say. But all 3 films, there is no doubt in my heart and mind, and a lot of people feel that way, were meant to be. I was the chosen operator or instrument to make them. But the way they came together with my minimum experience or 0 experience of filmmaking, first of all, not being a yoga teacher, not being a musician, not being a scholar, not being a famous filmmaker, why would Dr. Oz, and 90% of the people I interviewed were by cold calls. I didn't know anybody. Why would they say yes to me, first of all? So that was one very big question. And then the way they came together and took a life, the Yoga Unveiled was on PBS for 3 years. They say that the pile of applicants are like 2,000-3,000, and I just tried on my own and I got it through. So that was remarkable. So these films did not pose any challenges, really big challenges. The only challenges later on during editing, which I think all films, such heavy films, which are 4, 5, 3 hours long, do face are technical issues, which I did not have to face, but my team, my editors and my sound editors and graphics and all that stuff, which was nuisance value to it, but they sorted it out. So, but in terms of getting everybody, my crew, the people I worked for, everybody delightful. And the travel was easy. There were what shall I say, unfortunate happenings or nothing. Health was at my peak. I didn't even have a sniffle or a cold on these month-long marathons that we did. We would be traveling. I would have a 14, 15, 16-hour day in India when the filming was going on.
Right.
And dusty roads and taxis and everything. I was doing everything on my own.
It was synchronistic.
Pardon? Synchronicity.
Synchronistic.
Yeah, it was meant to be. It was graced. These films the projects were graced. There's no other way to look at them.
Wonderful. There's another question. There's a Kundalini teacher that wonders if you're interested in being interviewed for a yoga teacher training.
Absolutely.
I just asked her to put her email address in there, and then I will give it to you.
Sure.
And you can put it in privately if you'd like to. Then I'll make sure Gita gets it. Thank you.
And where are they based? You can undo your microphone. I'd love to talk to you.
Hi, Gita. How are you? My name is Shaliza, and we are located in Mississauga. We used to have a studio located in Mississauga.
Okay.
Due to COVID, we closed the studio. It was 6 years in the works, and it's been amazing working online, having the universe and the earth as our international practice now. So we have Kundalini practitioners from all around the world, people who want to come and do teacher training with us. And the consciousness, I believe, has now raised so many more dimensions. Rather than working just within a community, we are now working within the whole world, internationally, having clients. And not just clients, and it's not about that, it's more about the function of the practice and the actual prescription of the kriyas, and even just the way the asanas are, the way to go inward and become aware. So I was wondering if you would be interested in being interviewed for your film as well.
Yes, definitely. And we can do something similar as well if you want a little screening event. I do it all the time during COVID as well on Zoom. And I'd love to.
Great. Okay.
The email address is sitting there for you in the chat.
Yes, thank you so much. It was really nice to meet you, and you as well. You're a yoga therapist, so that's amazing. It's wonderful to have met you both as well. And I'm learning a lot more of the Ayurvedic side as being from East Indian culture as well. That is very much a part of our culture. So learning more and understanding more of that is very fascinating. Thank you.
For that, the Ayurveda Unveiled is a fantastic introduction, start to finish. It's 5 hours long, but it really shows the true essence of Ayurveda. It takes you into much of the deeper dimensions and the language of Sanskrit, and the biographies, the curative measures, the Guru Shishya Parampara, how the Vaidyas were trained traditionally, is all that has been covered. So I sincerely hope everybody gets to watch these films in their entirety, and you'll have to watch them many, many, many times. They are very loaded with wisdom and gems. So every time you watch them, you'll find new information. Erica would be the right person to comment on that. She's seen it besides.
Oh yes, I've watched the Ayurveda one 3 times now. I've only watched the yoga one once, but it's kind of like the practice or the study of Ayurveda. There's so many layers that you can just keep studying, and there's more and more to learn all the time in terms of the layers. So your film is just like that.
Yeah, they're very eloquent speakers. It's a pleasure to hear.
Yes.
I chose them. I chose the people who spoke very well, good communicators. That was a requirement, and people who practiced what they preached. So that when they spoke, their voice, their eyes, their skin, everything, it jumped out their own sadhanas, with conviction, so that the listeners would believe them. Subtle, subliminal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions? If not, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have a group of people come and learn something about Ayurveda or yoga or the world that we live in on a daily basis. And so please share it with all the people that you know, let them know what Ayurveda is, and then they can take that journey if they'd like to too. Neelam, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'm happy. I'm very glad that everybody joined, and I appreciate your allowing me to, talk to everyone, Neelam ji and youth. And I wish you all very well with your organization. And I hope these events bring more members for you, because that's the only way institutions and organizations can do these kinds of things. So I hope you get lots of support, and maybe we will connect sometime later in the year or so with a different angle to the films as well.
Yes, for sure. And there's one film left that we haven't, that I haven't seen yet. So for sure we'll do that.
Yes, and all the films are tied with a knot, because even the music, Indian classical music, was a means to go inwards. It became an art form and an entertainment form, but the roots are exactly where yoga comes from. It is a yoga of the sound.
Yeah.
So I've
so is architecture in India, so is every single thing that exists.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful one.
Neelam, do you have something?
No, I just wanted to thank all the participants, and of course Gita ji for bringing this beautiful film, as well as sharing your personal wisdom and your experience behind this film. We thank you so much, and maybe another few months time we will bring you again for Ayurveda Unveiled, and bring out some of the aspects that we didn't cover last time. Yes, we will definitely look towards that, and of course this will help us to, it's not just the bringing the members, but it's also creating that awareness that what we are wanting with this organization. So we are wanting not only the Ayurvedic practitioners to join us, but also the enthusiasts, and especially the yoga practitioners to join us, so that they also understand the yama and the niyama of the yoga with the Ayurvedic lifestyle. So that is our purpose. So we are looking forward to connect with more individuals with their like-minded interest in the Eastern philosophies. And of course, looking forward for that Raga documentary. Definitely we will feature that, and we will have some, in another 2 weeks, we will have another webinar. So that will also be featured on our Facebook. So please look into that and do attend, and become a member and connect with us if you have any questions on regarding Ayurveda. So we are expecting more and more people to join Ayurvedic Association and bring this movement of Ayurveda awareness ahead in Canada. So thank you, Erica, for bringing such a, interest, making the program more interesting and bringing out.
You're wonderful, Erica.
Yes. Yes,
Thank you.
it's a very good preparation she has done.
Mm.
And thank you, Gita ji. And I think
Well,
it's
namaste,
time
namaste to
exactly.
everyone, and
Namaste, everyone.
join us in 2 weeks.
I don't know,
for
Paul
chapter
G is
1.
here. Paul G is here. Paul G, you would like to say hello to everyone? I saw him here, but I think he's disappeared.
Here he is. Paul, do you want to say hi?
Might be muted.
No, he's not muted. He's not muted.
He walked away from the computer. Okay, everyone, good night. Take care of
Good
yourself.
night. Thank you so much. Thank
Good
you.
night. Be well.
Thank you.
Take care, Gita, in California.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.